An Intermatic time clock, even one that includes a manual shutoff lever, typically does not satisfy the requirements outlined in Section 680.12 of the National Electrical Code, or NEC. Section 680.12 pertains to disconnecting means for swimming pools, spas, hot tubs, and other similar installations. This section mandates a readily accessible disconnecting means that is suitable for use and located within sight of the specified equipment. Let's break down why a standard Intermatic time clock usually falls short. The NEC defines insight from as being visible and not more than 50 feet distant from the equipment. A readily accessible disconnect means it should be easily reached without having to climb over obstacles or remove any barriers. An Intermatic time clock is primarily designed to control the on and off cycles of pool equipment, such as pumps and heaters, based on a preset schedule. While the manual shutoff lever provides a way to interrupt power, it might not meet all the criteria of a suitable disconnecting means as defined by the NEC. Firstly, the disconnect must be able to interrupt the circuit under full load conditions. The time clock's manual lever may not be rated for safely breaking the full load current of the equipment it controls. Secondly, the NEC requires the disconnecting means to clearly indicate whether it is in the open or closed position. This ensures that anyone working on the equipment can easily verify that the power is indeed off. While a time clock lever might have markings, they may not be as definitive or as robust as those found on a dedicated disconnect switch. Thirdly, the location of the time clock itself might not always be in sight of the pool equipment or readily accessible. If the time clock is located in a remote panel or behind an obstruction, it would not comply with Section 680.12. So, what alternatives would meet the requirements? Typically, a listed and labeled disconnect switch or circuit breaker installed in a readily accessible location within sight of the pool equipment is used. This disconnect switch must be rated for the voltage and amperage of the equipment it controls and should clearly indicate its on or off status. The disconnect should be lockable in the open position for safety during maintenance. For example, a 20 amp, 240 volt rated disconnect switch mounted on a post near the pool pump would likely satisfy the NEC requirements, provided it is within sight and readily accessible. Some jurisdictions may also require a separate emergency shutoff switch, often referred to as an emergency power off or EPO switch. This switch is typically a large, easily identifiable button that, when pressed, immediately cuts power to all pool equipment. EPO switches are often located near the pool or spa for quick access in case of an emergency. It's crucial to consult the local electrical codes and regulations in addition to the NEC. Local codes may have additional requirements or restrictions that must be followed. A qualified electrician should always be consulted to ensure that the electrical installation meets all applicable safety standards. The electrician will be able to assess the specific installation and recommend the appropriate disconnecting means. Now let's discuss the implications of not complying with Section 680.12. Failure to provide a suitable disconnecting means can create a significant safety hazard. In the event of an electrical fault or emergency, it may be difficult to quickly shut off power to the pool equipment, potentially leading to electric shock or other injuries. Moreover, non-compliance can result in fines, penalties, and the requirement to correct the installation. Electrical inspections are often conducted to verify compliance with safety codes, and any violations must be rectified promptly. To summarize, while an Intermatic time clock with a manual shutoff lever can be useful for controlling pool equipment, it does not generally meet the requirements for a disconnecting means as specified in Section 680.12 of the NEC. A dedicated disconnect switch or circuit breaker, properly rated and located within sight and readily accessible, is typically required to comply with the code. Remember to always consult with a qualified electrician and adhere to all applicable local codes and regulations to ensure a safe and compliant installation. It is important to ensure that all electrical work related to swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs is performed by qualified professionals who are familiar with the specific requirements of Section 680 of the National Electrical Code. This section covers a wide range of safety considerations, including bonding, grounding, wiring methods, and the installation of electrical equipment. Proper bonding and grounding are essential to minimize the risk of electric shock. All metal parts of the pool structure, including the reinforcing steel, metal fittings, and underwater lighting fixtures, must be bonded together and connected to a grounding electrode system. This creates a low impedance path for fault current, which helps to trip the circuit breaker or ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, in the event of an electrical fault. Ground fault circuit interrupters are required for most electrical circuits near swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs. A GFCI is a device that monitors the current flowing through a circuit and quickly interrupts the power if it detects a ground fault. A ground fault occurs when current leaks from a live conductor to ground, which can happen if there is damaged insulation or a loose connection. GFCIs are designed to trip within milliseconds of detecting a ground fault, which can prevent serious electric shock. Wiring methods used in and around swimming pools must be suitable for wet locations and protected from physical damage. Underground wiring must be buried at a sufficient depth to prevent damage from digging or other activities. Electrical equipment, such as pumps, filters, and heaters, must be listed and labeled for use in swimming pool environments. This means that the equipment has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory to meet safety standards. The equipment must also be installed according to the manufacturer's instructions. Regular maintenance and inspection of electrical equipment are essential to ensure continued safety. Check for signs of damage, such as cracked insulation, loose connections, or corrosion. Have a qualified electrician inspect the electrical system periodically to identify and correct any potential problems. When working on electrical equipment near a swimming pool, always turn off the power at the circuit breaker. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as rubber gloves and safety glasses. Never work on electrical equipment when you are wet or standing in water. Educate all pool users about electrical safety. Warn them not to touch electrical equipment while they are in the pool or spa. Post warning signs near the pool to remind people of the dangers of electricity. By following these safety precautions, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and ensure a safe swimming pool environment. Consider these additional points. Always consult the latest edition of the National Electrical Code and any applicable local codes. Codes and regulations can change, so it is important to stay up to date. Obtain all necessary permits before starting any electrical work. Permits ensure that the work is inspected and meets safety standards. Use only qualified and licensed electricians for electrical work related to swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs. Qualified electricians have the training and experience to perform the work safely and correctly. Keep detailed records of all electrical work performed, including permits, inspections, and test results. These records can be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Develop an emergency plan in case of an electrical accident. The plan should include procedures for shutting off the power, calling for help, and providing first aid. Regularly review and update the emergency plan. Now let's talk about specific types of equipment. Underwater lighting fixtures must be specifically designed and listed for underwater use. They must be installed with a GFCI protected circuit and bonded to the pool's grounding system. Low voltage lighting systems are often used in swimming pools to reduce the risk of electric shock. These systems typically operate at 12 volts alternating current, or volts AC, or 24 volts AC, and require a transformer to step down the voltage from the main power supply. Pool heaters must be installed with appropriate safety controls, such as high limit switches and pressure relief valves. These controls are designed to prevent overheating and other potentially dangerous conditions. Saltwater chlorinators use electricity to convert salt into chlorine, which is used to sanitize the pool water. These systems must be installed with a GFCI protected circuit and bonded to the pool's grounding system. Automatic pool covers can pose an electrical hazard if they are not properly installed and maintained. The cover motor and controls must be protected from the weather and installed with a GFCI protected circuit. Consider these factors when selecting electrical equipment for a swimming pool, spa, or hot tub. Choose equipment that is specifically designed and listed for use in wet environments. Select equipment that is energy efficient to save on electricity costs. Consider the ease of maintenance and repair when choosing equipment. Choose equipment that is compatible with your existing electrical system. Get multiple estimates before hiring an electrician. Check the electrician's references and license. Make sure the electrician is familiar with the requirements of Section 680 of the National Electrical Code. Get a written contract that includes the scope of work, price, and payment schedule. Do not pay the full amount upfront. Pay in installments as the work progresses. Inspect the work carefully before making the final payment. Keep all records of the work performed. Consider the long-term costs of owning and operating a swimming pool, spa, or hot tub. These costs include electricity, chemicals, maintenance, and repairs. By planning carefully and following safety precautions, you can enjoy your swimming pool, spa, or hot tub safely and responsibly. Remember that electricity and water can be a dangerous combination. Always exercise caution and follow all safety guidelines. If you are not sure about something, consult with a qualified electrician. The information provided in this narration is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or other professional for specific guidance related to your situation. Failure to follow safety precautions can result in serious injury or death. Here are some additional resources that you may find helpful. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, published by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. Your local building department. Your local electrical inspector. The Electrical Safety Foundation International, or ESFI. The Consumer Product Safety Commission, or CPSC. Remember, safety should always be your top priority when it comes to electricity and swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs. Be aware of the risks and take precautions to protect yourself and others. Now let's add some more depth to this. When considering the installation of electrical equipment for pools, spas, or hot tubs, it's not just about meeting the bare minimum code requirements. It's about creating a safe and enjoyable environment for everyone. Think about the placement of lighting. Underwater lights can add a beautiful ambience to your pool at night, but they must be installed correctly to prevent electrical hazards. Consider using low-voltage LED lights, which are more energy efficient and safer than traditional incandescent lights. Also, think about the placement of the lights to minimize glare and create a pleasant lighting effect. The placement of outlets around the pool area is also important. Outlets should be GFCI protected and located at least 10 feet away from the edge of the water. This will help to prevent electrical shock if someone accidentally drops an electrical device into the pool. Consider installing additional outlets for convenience, such as for powering a portable speaker or charging a mobile phone. When choosing a pool pump, select a model that is energy efficient and quiet. Variable speed pumps are a good option, as they allow you to adjust the pump speed to match the pool's needs. This can save you money on electricity costs and reduce noise levels. Also, make sure the pump is properly sized for your pool to ensure efficient filtration. Consider installing a pool automation system. These systems allow you to control various pool functions, such as the pump, heater, and lights from a central location. This can make it easier to manage your pool and save energy. Some automation systems can even be controlled remotely via a smartphone app. When installing electrical equipment, use high-quality materials and components. This will help to ensure the longevity and reliability of the system. Use corrosion-resistant materials for all electrical connections and enclosures. This is especially important in coastal areas, where salt air can corrode electrical components. Protect wiring from physical damage by using conduit or other protective measures. Make sure all electrical connections are properly tightened and secured. This will help to prevent loose connections, which can cause overheating and electrical fires. After the electrical installation is complete, have it inspected by a qualified electrical inspector. The inspector will verify that the installation meets all applicable codes and regulations. This will help to ensure that the installation is safe and compliant. Regularly inspect the electrical equipment for signs of damage or wear. Check for cracked insulation, loose connections, and corrosion. Replace any damaged or worn components promptly. Have a qualified electrician inspect the electrical system periodically to identify and correct any potential problems. This will help to prevent electrical accidents and ensure continued safety. Keep a detailed record of all electrical work performed on the pool. This record should include the date of the work, the name of the electrician, and a description of the work performed. This record will be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Educate all pool users about electrical safety. Warn them not to touch electrical equipment while they are in the pool or spa. Post warning signs near the pool to remind people of the dangers of electricity. This will help to prevent electrical accidents and ensure a safe swimming pool environment for everyone. The key takeaway is that an Intermatic time clock is a control device, not a safety disconnect as defined by Section 680.12.